What's going on YouTube? It's Tej, back again with another video and back at you with updated NFL power rankings. Excited to talk about this last week's worth of action and who's on the rise, who's fallen a little bit, of course, some other breaking NFL news. So let me hear your thoughts on these power rankings down below in the comments section. Who's too high, who's too low, who's your favorite squad, and where should they be? And if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, all that sort of fun stuff. All right, let's waste no time and let's jump right into it, starting things off with the bottom bottom eight, and we have the Carolina Panthers staying put. Obviously, you have the Frank Reich firing, second shortest head coaching tenure in NFL history. Pretty wild. I don't think Reich was doing a whole lot to elevate that offense. I don't think the situation around him was doing a whole lot to elevate his status either. So I think he just kind of got the raw end of a deal. And really, this comes down to Dave Tepper, man. This will be head coach number 6 that he's had to hire between interim and regular. So he's got to nail this next one. And honestly, I think he's probably got to fire Scott Fitterer too, who's been clinging onto that job, doing anything that Tepper wants him to. But it's probably time to just clean house, get a new front office, and then let them make the head coaching decision and move on from there. Panthers, sorry guys, it's just not good. Patriots, Giants, they're both bad. Giants beat the Patriots, but I didn't really have the confidence to move them up and over the Raiders. They're two teams, at least the Giants have an excuse that it's Tommy DeVito. The Patriots, like this, and then the Jets. I mean, let the Patriots and the Jets serve as a great example of sometimes you get a little bit of a backup quarterback boost and a bump, and sometimes they're a backup quarterback and not starting over the starter for a reason, because Mac Jones was abysmal, Bailey Zappi wasn't much better, and it's a banged-up defense. And then, the Giants, frustrations between Wink Martindale and Brian Daboll, then Wink Martindale gets the, game ball after the win. That's kind of interesting. I like the T of that, but DeVito did just enough, and then you get the missed field goal late. The Giants get another win. They might win themselves out of that number 1 pick potential landing in the draft. So that could be potentially disastrous long term, but we'll see where they end up in the final draft order. Raiders down 4 spots, and I think eventually the Antonio Pierce thing was going to come to an end. Aiden O'Connell's only going to take you so far. The defense is still playing above expectations, but the last 2 weeks, I think the last 3 weeks, they had kind of gone above and beyond. And then this was the week where it's like after the first quarter, they kind of set into reality. Titans with a solid win. Good to see Derrick Henry, really involved. The run defense came back to form. Will Levis didn't lose the game, and it's good to see a young quarterback be able to play within what a type of game is. So I'm glad that he didn't throw that one away because, especially with some of his concerns coming out of college, sometimes a little inaccurate. Sometimes he can play a little bit too much like a gunslinger. This was a good one to see, hey, okay, he can play within the situation of a game and not lose it for you. Cardinals are down a spot. I mean, this is kind of a weird game for Arizona because, they've been pretty competitive with everyone they played. And now the Rams, just absolutely put a thrashing on them. And so it was a little weird to see Arizona finally get beat down by somebody like that. But nevertheless, they've still been really competitive. And since getting Kyler Murray back, they've gotten a big boost. Bears go up a spot. They did get a win. It was, I saw a tweet that just perfectly encapsulated that Monday night game. It was a Thursday night game that somehow got scheduled on a Monday. That's exactly how that 12-10 win felt. I don't think either team really deserved a win. So I'll move the Bears up a spot. Fields, I think, I want to say I was impressed with him, but also I look at Luke Getsy's passing chart and everything's just at the line of scrimmage and on the sidelines. And as a Steelers fan, trust me, throwing to the middle of the field, especially this week, proved to make a world of difference. So I feel like Getsy's got to change up what he's doing there for the pass calling, passing game standpoint. You can't have those 2 fumbles there from Fields. That almost choked it late. Commanders down a spot. Yeah, and it's crazy. I felt like they played a pretty good first half until that last drive from Dallas, and we'll talk more about the Cowboys later. But from that last drive on, I think they played an okay third quarter, but it's just clear they don't have the talent that a Dallas does, And again, I think there's a lot of guys who played well. Curtis Samuels, Sam Howell, just wasn't enough. They don't have the talent to go toe-to-toe with Dallas. There are teams like that in the NFL. Buccaneers also down a spot. Mike Evans continues to be a shining light. Rashad White with a nice catch and run for a touchdown. But yeah, they're still missing too many pieces. And they have a guy who's good enough at quarterback, but not going to elevate the situation around him. So they need to find that long-term elite quarterback. They still got some work to do on the O-line. Got to figure out that edge group, maybe add to the secondary too. This is a lot of work generally to be done for the Buccaneers, but I still like them kind of where they are because they've been generally competitive with just about everyone they play. And then we get to the Jets down a spot. I mean, the Fail Mary, that is one of the most iconic plays I can ever remember. To me, that and like the butt fumble are like plays that I will hilariously like hold on to for all the wrong reasons in my head. Man, that was awesome to see. Not for Jets fans, but again, let this serve as a reminder. Zach Wilson's bad, but there was a reason Tim Boyle wasn't starting over him, and it's because Tim Boyle might be worse, So And I kind of feel like the Jets are going to hit a point like the Broncos did last year. The Broncos defense, first 8-10 games of the year last year, were awesome. One of the best defenses in football. The offense just continuously let them down. And then by the end of the year, the Denver defense wasn't anything to be scared of. And I got a bad feeling it's going to be the same thing this year with the Jets. Saints down 2 spots. I mean, yeah, kind of I don't want to say a weird one to lose to the Falcons, but I don't know. I felt like neither one of these two teams wanted to pull away. I know Michael Thomas is tough. Rashid Shaheed then gets hurt. Big day for Chris Olave. But yeah, man, just kind of a disappointing showing there from the Saints. And then let's get into the Falcons. They're more of the story here. I did move them up 7 spots, and I noted last week where it felt like 28 was a little rude, but I didn't love Desmond Ridder and whatnot. But at least this week I can say, man, they got Bijan out in space a ton. They did a lot with Drake London that I liked, just getting him the ball and letting him be dynamic. And that defense is really taken a huge step forward this year, headlined by Jesse Bates, who's been maybe the best safety in football. So see him get that pick 6, that really was the difference in the game, and I can't believe Carr stared him down to throw that Stevie, but he did, and that kind of, again, proved to be the difference, and been really pleased with the Falcons' progress. Still got to make a big upgrade there at quarterback next offseason. Colts are up a spot. Just a really competitive team, man. Shane Steichen, really good coach of the year candidate. Gardner Minshew making that move on Devin White. I know he was banged up coming to the game, but I mean, he's just scrappy, man. Ultimate moxie guy. He's making enough throws. Michael Pittman Jr. is a really nice player. Jonathan Taylor now going to miss some time, but him and Zach Moss still a nice 1-2 punch. And that defense generally playing pretty well. So really pleased with Indianapolis, and I think Shane Steichen's doing an awesome job. Vikings down 3 spots. We've had them kind of in this 15-16 range for a while, and I've been looking to move them down. Just haven't had teams beneath them win. This was the week where that opening came. I think we've kind of hit the end of the Josh Dobbs hero story, so to speak. He's still an intriguing player. 2 teams that he's been more competitive for than they really had any reason to be. But I think this is kind of the end of the line, and maybe the Vikings start to look towards tanking and getting a better draft pick. Bengals down 3 spots. I mean, they should probably do the same thing just to get a top 15 pick on that roster when you already have Joe Burrow coming back. He's on his road to recovery now into the rehab process, which is good. Keith Browning's still not terrible. I don't think he played an absolutely horrible game, and the Bengals had chances to beat the Steelers, even though their offense did look rejuvenated. So that's encouraging, but this team should embrace losing the rest of the way. Then we get to the Rams. Like I said earlier, man, they're the one team that's been able to put a beat down on Arizona, which is interesting. Plus, you get Kyren Williams back, and man, Kyren Williams is just one of those players that almost like an Eli Ricks, where it's just the athletic measurables aren't crazy. I think this is even more true for Kyren Williams, because I didn't think there was a chance he would fall to the 6th round, just because great pass protector, great pass receiver, and really good vision with ball contact balance. May not be the most explosive guy, but he has those other 4 things that I really like. And he fell all the way to the 6th round. I was shocked by that. And, when he's been healthy for the Rams, he's been easily their best back. So, really great to see him back. Cooper Kupp a little banged up, kind of in and out of the lineup. Puka Nacua still there. Actually, Puka and Cooper Kupp didn't really do anything in this game. This is the 2-2 outlaw Kyren Williams show. Stafford tossing 4 tuds, too. So, it's good to see those non-headline receivers making an impact. And, man, when this Rams offense is healthy, it's a really good unit. Packers up 2 spots. Don't look now, but Jordan Love's starting to look like a franchise quarterback. So I think if he keeps this up the rest of the way, if he maintains this status quo, he's going to be the starter for Green Bay next year. But I've been really pleased with it. And noted throughout the year, his ball placement's been erratic, but the last 4 weeks, starting at that Steelers game, it's been cleaned up a lot. And plus, then on Thursday, you get a contested catch from Christian Watson, something we haven't seen a whole lot of. Jaden Reed still making plays. Rashawn Gary taking that game over. And they got that big win without Jair Alexander, who's still hurt. So this is a team that's definitely on the upswing, and I've been really impressed with Jordan Love. Then we get to my Pittsburgh Steelers. And I mean, I won't talk too long on this, but I think we figured out the problem. It was Matt Canada. Who would have thought? Who's been saying that this whole time? And throwing over the middle of the field, when you're not just funneling yourself into throwing to the sidelines where defense can sit and anticipate that, it opens up the offense. And then when you start passing the ball effectively, the run game gets more efficient. Who would have thought of all this? So it's basically the same playbook, but Mike Sullivan just, for lack of better words, called the good plays. And he let Kenny Pickett attack the middle of the field, and that really opened things up. Pat Freiermuth, it's almost like they used a 2nd rounder on him, right? So it was really great to see that offense open up. Still got some, those receivers, don't want to get them more involved. And I'd love to see Deontay Johnson go after a fumble when it's on the ground. But he also should have had a touchdown to play before that. So, can't be too mad, but still would like to see him jump on that. Chargers, they're going to stay at 14 just because I think in a head-to-head, I think the Chargers are better. I think the Chargers would be favored against Pittsburgh in a neutral field setting. I don't know. That could be close. Maybe I should flip these 2 teams. But Herbert versus Kenny Pickett, even with the rejuvenated Steelers offense, Justin Herbert, clearly the better quarterback. But yeah, I mean, Chargers going to Charger. Losing a primetime game, they kind of hang around, and then ultimately the better team pulls away. This team just doesn't know how to win close ones. And, I've been saying it for a while. Brandon Staley, as much as I like the hire at the time, got to go. Then we get to the Seahawks. They're finally moving down a spot. It's a 3-game losing streak, but only really the Thursday game to me is a frustrating loss because I didn't think they were that much. I didn't think they were going to get put in the dirt by San Francisco, but they did. But I still think this is a really solid squad and a team that I still genuinely really like. I think their top end can be as good and compete with anybody in the league because they got great receivers. Really like that, secondary, even though they did bench Tariq Woolen. Boye Mafe breakout year. Geno Smith, when he's not turning over in the red zone, can be really, really good. And a plus game manager, kind of an elevator, but not quite an elite guy, somewhere there in that middle ground. But, just haven't seen these last 3 weeks. But, I trust that Pete Carroll's going to get them back on track. Browns are down 3 spots. Thought about flipping these 2, but I've had Seattle stay at 12 the last 2 weeks, despite them losing. So it was about time they get at least 1 spot bump. I'm being really generous to the Seahawks. But the Browns, we'll see what happens with this Dorian Thompson-Robinson injury, because he wasn't playing bad. P.J. Walker did, though. So we'll see what this outlook for the quarterback position is long-term. It's probably going to end up being Joe Flacco. So let me see a week of what Joe Flacco is. Maybe they'll stay here around 12 because that defense is still really good and Amari Cooper's still working. But if Flacco looks rough, they might fall down to that 15, 17, 18 range or so. Broncos are up 2 spots. I think the turnover differential is, probably not sustainable, and some of the other stats that they've had over this, great win streak probably aren't going to be maintained. But nonetheless, they're making it happen. And, Russ may not be, putting up, gaudy numbers, but he's a really efficient game manager, and he's been attacking the sidelines, just throwing some dimes. It was Cortland Sutton 2 weeks ago, and then it's Adam Troutman with a catch that I still can't fathom. That's why I had to put in the thumbnail today. Crazy. And actually, we'll talk about Houston next. But, you look at that freeze frame and then compare a Tank Dell catch at the end of the game that may have turned the fortune around for the Texans. It's pretty illuminating there. But, yeah, the Broncos are getting a lot of contributions on offense from a lot of different guys. Russ isn't losing games. And, a couple of slot guys really want to shout out here. Jaquan McMillan. I had a video on the channel a few weeks ago now talking about why I think slot corner is going to be where teams put their best DB. And Jaquan McMillan has been kind of another argument, another player I can point to and be like, since they put him there, look at how this defense has turned around. Look how many more turnovers they're generating. So I wanted to shout him out. He's been one of the best slot corners in football, and I think been a big part of why the Broncos have turned it around defensively. Then we get to Houston. I moved them up even though the loss. They went toe-to-toe with Trevor Lawrence and the Jags in one of the better games they played, especially on the offensive side. So I was really pleased with both these teams and the offensive show put that we got from those two guys. And ultimately it comes down to that Tank Dell catch on the sideline. Matty Amendola. Also, prayers up for the guy getting waived right after that. Because he was in a no-win spot. We all knew he was going to get released, but that's tough. When the man doinks the crossbar right down the middle from 58 yards, that's crazy. The man's out of a job the next day. That's crazy. It blows my mind. That's just a really tough turn of circumstances there. But, if the call is properly made with Tank down the sideline, it's an easier field goal. We might be talking about it overtime. We might be talking about a different game. But, for these two teams to be the featured, teams of the AFC South moving forward, it makes that division a lot more fun to watch than what it was, 2 years ago or so, where it's kind of like the Jags and not a whole lot else to be psyched to watch. Bills and State put at 8. They went toe-to-toe and played maybe the game of the year against the team that's number 1 in these power rankings. So, wish I could see them get this win. It's almost like the Chargers thing, where it's just like, dude, these big games, you got to start turning them into W's. And Sean McDermott, his seat's getting hotter and hotter by the minute, but awesome game from Josh Allen, getting everyone involved. And man, it makes me also play what if Trey White's healthy and Matt Milano's healthy, how much better is that defense? Because I feel like I said it months and months ago that they're going to feel those losses more and more over time, and I think we've certainly hit that point. Lions are down a spot, disappointing loss. It comes and goes. When you play hyper-aggressive, sometimes it comes back to hurt you, and there were points in this Green Bay game where that was true. Also, Jared Goff, against pressure, not the same guy. Man, and Rashawn Gary was dominating that game. And Goff pretty much always had pressure in his lap. So wasn't the same guy, therefore wasn't the same Lions offense. And Green Bay's offense also made a lot of big plays against that Lions defense. So we're in progress, but this is a good time of the year where it's like, hey, let's get some final tweaks, let's adjust some things, let's make sure that we're prepared once we get in the postseason, because the Lions are all but almost guaranteed at this point to make the postseason. Dolphins up a spot, trading places with the Lions. Again, the Fail Mary, just what an awesome, play that was from Javon Holland, one of my favorite players in the league. So, love that. And actually going back to the slot point, talking about the Vikings, Josh Metellus, another really nice slot player. And, the reason I bring this up is how Javon Holland was used for Brian Flores' defense, kind of this do-it-all guy in the slot and over the top. Whenever I need him to do something, he'll be my kind of do-everything guy. Josh Metellus has kind of become that guy in Minnesota, so I wanted to shout that out. Forgot earlier. But yeah, really nice showing from the offense, really much all day long. Tyreek, kind of in and out of the lineup, but good to see he had another big day. Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, just same old for Miami. And then the top 5 is going to stay the same. dominant game from the Cowboys. They really pulled away, especially after that first half drive. Felt like this team, once it gets into momentum, dude, they are really tough to stop. Deron Bland, of course, pick 6 record, awesome story there. And him and Gilmore have really been a awesome 1-2 punch there on the outside. Ravens' big win wasn't always pretty, but they did ultimately pull away. Zay Flowers, you see the difference he can make. I anticipated him having a big game. Talked about that last week on the hurry up offense. And it's because the Chargers play off. So if you're not pressing Zay Flowers, I think he's going to have a lot of big games there for the Ravens. So this kind of felt like the perfect matchup, and he showed up. Chiefs, more Rashee Rice, but I'd still love to see some other receivers step up. But big game for Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce schemed up, but also getting open. Big game for Isaiah Pacheco as well, and Patrick Mahomes doing what he does. So kind of felt like the Chiefs offense somewhat got back on track, but it's still going to take a little bit more than just Rashee Rice. But it was good to see Rice finally have that kind of breakout here. I'm on the scene type of game. Then the 49ers and Eagles, and if I'm honest, I think the 49ers are a slightly better team, but I wasn't going to move the Eagles down after winning the game of the year. Like, there's no shot in hell you could have catch me doing that. So I think these are the 2 best teams in the NFL right now. These are the 2 rosters I have the fewest questions about. With the Chiefs, obviously Patrick Mahomes is awesome. I love that defense, but it's like, you take away Kelce, who's stepping up, right? And can this team solely win on the ground? I don't think so. I don't think you want to either. So I think the Eagles and the 49ers are the 2 teams I look at. I'm like, no major questions about the roster. They can win in a variety of ways. They have superstars in the most important spots. I mean, yeah, like I said, 2 best rosters in football and 2 teams playing like it. Guys, that's going to do it for my Week 13 NFL Power Rankings. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Who's too high? Who's too low? Who's your favorite team? And where should they be in these Power Rankings? Let me hear your thoughts down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And until next time, my name is Teach, and I'm signing off.